are back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So, fucking, the level of Indian hate out there at the moment is fucking intense. Even for my level. Even for my wife's level. Like, my wife also gets annoyed at Indians, but there's a level where it just becomes fucking intense. And I fully understand where it's coming from as well. Indians don't just sparsely populate areas. They don't move into an all-white town and just chill by themselves. Indians congregate together, and a lot of it has to do with, like, the schooling. There's a place in Sydney. Well, it's not fucking Sydney. It's an hour out of Sydney. It wasn't even a fucking suburb that I'd ever heard of before when I was living in Sydney as a young man. It's called Bella Vista, and it's like 98% Indians. But there was no one out there before. It was like farmland and nothing. Indians started moving out there, and what happened was the schools out there became fucking extremely highly rated. Because the Indians came in and the Indians care about education, so the schools became really good. And then more Indians who cared about schooling wanted to move into the area to get access to the good schools. And it became a self-fulfilling prophecy that Indians go to Bella Vista, and within like 10 years, the entire area is filled with Indians. It's like 90% Indian. I'd say it's 98% Indians. And the same thing happens everywhere. And when it happens in Lexington out here where fucking Noam Chomsky lived. When I was looking for schools for my kids out here, I was like, all right, what's the best school? And it was a school out in Lexington. Then I was like, all right, what's happening out in Lexington? So I looked this school up and you can see the demographics, and the demographics are like fucking 60% South Asian, 30% Asian, and then there's like a few Caucasians and a couple of black dudes. That was the breakdown. The Indians get fucking attracted to the good schools, and the good schools are the schools where lots of Indians go to. Because their parents are fucking psychos about like education. The same way the Jews took over in like the early 1900s in America. The Jews were the only ones who cared about education. And so, well, they also owned everything as well. Go down the conspiracy lane. But if you want to go less down the conspiracy lane, then the Jews that immigrated over cared more about education than any other ethnicity. You know what I mean? So after a few generations where your main goal is to fucking get the best possible education, then you're going to start taking over some shit. And then the Jews sort of fell off a little bit, and the Asians moved in, the Chinese moved in and started fucking caring about education more than the Jews. The Jews got complacent, then the Asians moved in, and then after the Asians, the Indians moved in. And that's when, like, I think it was Harvard and fucking Princeton, these Ivy League schools started going, no, we've got too many Asians, and they got in trouble because they were fucking, I think they were choosing the Jews and the whites over the fucking Asians and Indians that were probably more deserving. So that's one of the things that happens. The Indians move into a place, they take over because they want to be close to the good schools. And then what happens is they have so many people in that area near the schools that they end up building a community, and everyone in that community is Hindu. So they're like, hey, I tell you what we should do. We should open an Indian mart and start importing some of the food we like. And so they do that, and then the next thing you know, there's a few more Indian marts there, then there's a couple of Indian restaurants, then there's a few more Indian restaurants. Next thing you know, you've got a fucking temple in the middle of fucking Bougainville, Australia, or fucking Hicksville, fucking USA, and then the locals are like, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on out there? And then everyone starts feeling comfortable. You're like, hey, do we really need to wear jeans? It's all Indians around here. Let's just wear the fucking kurta. Let's wear a fucking lungi. Let's wear a fucking sari. And then it starts getting a little bit dicey, because then it seems like it's an affront to the country that they moved to. And then it becomes are they integrating fucking question. And then on top of that, Indians have money. Most Indians have money, especially if they've managed to get overseas. Well, if they're doing school overseas, they have access to some sort of money. A lot of them take out huge loans. A lot of them struggle here, but they fucking eventually get it sorted. So then on top of all that, you've got what seem like wealthy Indians living in giant houses in areas that are now very expensive and popular because all the Indians moved there. And everyone sort of forgets. It's a little bit different. I heard Dallas is pretty much fucking Indian central now. But the areas in Australia where all the Indians lived, no one was fucking living out there. They weren't even fucking areas. Well, they might have been, but there was like 10 bogans living there or something. And now the bogans have been overrun. And I understand. I understand that. It's fucking brutal. I'll tell you, I don't know if I can't even remember if I fucking talked about it last time, but when I was in Guatemala, we bumped into this fucking Indian dude who was a pharmaceutical salesman, and he was going around selling medicines and shit to the Central and South Americans. And he was telling us what's going on. So what has happened is the Punjabis, the Sikhs, the ones with the turbans, those guys, they're not Hindus. They're a different religion. So they're Sikhs. So the Sikhs from Punjab have hooked up with the Mexican cartel. And so what happens is any of these countries in the Americas that have visa-free entry for Indians, the Indians just flood there. Like it was El Salvador, and then Indians flooded there, so they had to cancel that. And then I think now it's Bolivia. Bolivia's got visa-free entry, and so the Indians flood there. And then they try to make their way across the border. This is mainly the Sikhs. So they try and make their way across the border, and there's some connection between the cartel and the Indian Sikhs, because there's a massive, massive fucking drug problem in Punjab as well. Punjab. Like there's a proper fucked up drug epidemic happening in the Punjab. So I think the cartel is infiltrated in there somehow. And so the Punjabis make their way to the US, and as soon as they get into the US, they can apply for asylum because they're a different religion and they say they're being persecuted. So that's Punjabis. But I guess the fact of the matter is there's 1.4 billion Indians, and they've probably just let too many in. Too many Indians have come in at once, and it's jarring for the local people. But the hate is fucking getting intense. I don't know where it goes from here, but it's starting to not seem very good. I wouldn't like to be an Indian in Texas at the moment. That's just how I feel. Anyway, fucking that'll do it for today, and I'll see you the fuck later.